Okay, this is part 2 of chapter 10. Remember that when cells divide, the genome must be copied. Now, the process in which the genome will be copied is called DNA replication, and we will spend a lot of time in Unit 4 talking about this process and learning the steps involved with making an entire copy of the genome. Now, because the DNA molecules are so long, once copied, the amount of genetic material in the cell is literally twice as much. So, in order to effectively move the DNA into its respective cells, the DNA is going to be organized into these discrete, smaller, more easy to move units called chromosomes. Each duplicated chromosome consists of a pair of sister chromatids joined together by a centromere. And if we take a look at this in an artist's view, we see that here are a pair of homologous chromosomes. And recall that the homologous chromosome pairs, the diploid number, comes from one paternal and one maternal chromosome, contributions from father and mother, respectively. Now, after DNA replication occurs, the chromosomes have been duplicated through the DNA replication process. And so this replicated homologous chromosome consists now of a pair of sister chromatids that are joined by the centromere region. So here we see a replicated pair of homologous chromosomes. Now, for cell division to occur, there are really two steps. The first step will be the division of the nucleus, and this is called karyokinesis. Recall that the word root karyo refers to nucleus, and the word root for moving is kinase. The second step is the division of the cytoplasm. This is known as cytokinesis, literally the movement or the division of the cell. Cyto refers to cell. Now, we can look at karyokinesis specifically and see that there are two types. Mitosis is a type of karyokinesis that somatic cells in our body uses to produce two identical cells, two identical daughter cells. Start with a diploid cell, end with two identical diploid cells. The other type of karyokinesis is meiosis, and meiosis is the division that occurs in animals to produce gametes. And in this division, we will find that the cell will actually divide twice with only one replication or one duplication of the genetic material. And so this will take our diploid cell that we begin with and reduce it into 4 haploid cells. And as we begin Unit 4 next, we will see that not only are these haploid cells produced haploid and have half the amount of genetic material, because of some unique things that happen during meiosis, they're also going to be genetically unique. Now, the cell cycle alternates between cell divisions and periods of normal activity between divisions for cells that are going to be able to divide. And this period between cell divisions is called interphase. If we look at the cycle of a somatic cell in this diagram, we see that interphase is the longest portion. Interphase consists of 3 subphases: gap 1, synthesis, and gap 2, represented on this diagram by G1, S, and G2. And as we'll see, each of these discrete steps is necessary in order for the cell to prepare and be able to effectively divide. At the end of this chapter, we'll also talk about some of the important checkpoints that occur in these subphases that allow for the cell division to be regulated. Now, the interphase is the period between divisions, and then the mitotic phase of a somatic cell, the M phase, is where karyokinesis and cytokinesis will occur. The mitotic phase, the division of the cytoplasm, includes 4 very predictable steps: prophase, metaphase, anaphase, and telophase. Your book also lists prometaphase. but for the purposes of our lectures, I group prometaphase and prophase together. So we will see in the next lecture how each of these mitotic steps occurs to split the nucleus and where cytokinesis will occur to divide the cytoplasm.